Oh geez, this is so heavy. Alright. Using low light. Exposure looks pretty good. Want to see that quality, also want to see the stabilization, exposure in very high dynamic ranges. This is the 24-70 Sigma lens. Super heavy. So I think the real test is going to be quality, image stabilization, and also low light performance. Also going to take stills with this puppy. The lens is just freaking heavy. But also want to test out autofocus because that's one of the things that people are saying the autofocus isn't great, but I know that this lens is much newer than the 17-55 older USM lens. This looks pretty smooth. Focus seems pretty seamless here. No complaints thus far, but obviously gonna have to do a lot of testing because this lens is literally like 800 bucks. So that's pretty silent too. I can barely hear it. Okay, this is holding the lens in my hand. Image stabilization on for the lens. Then we're going to switch it off. Now image stabilization is off. I can see a little bit more shake in the actual screen. But exposure is doing pretty well in this particular scenario here. It's doing pretty well. Like right here, all the lights coming in. Image stabilization back on. Looks pretty nice and smooth. Skin tone looks good. Let's try to do a zoom in. See the detail. I think that's probably the limit. But a lot of nice details. You can catch all the pores on my skin. See a little pimple there. You can hear the lens searching for focus as well, which may be an issue. Not for taking pictures, but obviously for video. If you don't have a lav mic or a shotgun mic that's in front of this so that you don't hear it, that's also possibly an issue. Yeah, focus on the hair. Pretty decent autofocus, it seems slower. Okay. Focused. And focused. Focused. And focused. So the focus on this is pretty smooth. The lens still makes a pretty decent amount of noise versus these STM lenses that I have from Canon. So here, we'll try it again here. Yeah, it takes quite a bit more time to focus, it seems. This one's not even focusing now. There we go. Focused. And focused. Yeah, it seems to be take quite a bit of time. I'm gonna compare this to the 50mm that I have, as well as the 17-55 that I have. That one's pretty loud, but I think the focus is faster. I'm not sure about the quality of the lens. I mean, this is, you know, an $800-900 lens, the 24-70 Sigma. So I don't know if I'll have to see what it's like in the low light, because this doesn't seem like it's really worth it. The lens is, I'll have to weigh what the lens is, but it's a lot. But yeah, we'll switch over to the 18 to or 10 to 18 EFS, and we'll also switch to the 50mm and see what those are like. Okay, so we have switched over to the 50mm EF Canon lens, and this is an STM motor with a 1.8 aperture. And so we'll try to focus again on these lenses and see how quick the autofocus is. So get a little bit closer here. Focused. 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 Focus. So this one's still smooth. The STM lens is, or the STM motor for autofocus is much quicker, and I very much like this setup a little bit better. This mumbo jumbo thing is very, very heavy, and I can't imagine carrying this around. I think it's gotta be like at full like zoom here. I gotta believe that it's heavier than the 17-55. The good thing about this is that even though it's expensive, the zoom and the focus is very smooth, and there's no crunchiness in between them. So that's something that's really nice, and it's weather sealed and it's dust resistant when it comes to that. Obviously, if you open up the lenses, and whether you the front of the lens or the rear, you can obviously get particles in there. But yeah, overall, this is a very interesting range, and it's very high, like premium quality feeling. Just the materials on it, it's mostly metal on the outside, it seems, and then plastic on the top portions here. So yeah, it feels very, very premium. This is an EF mount, and then right now the 50mm is on the EF mount too, and that one's, the prime lens is really good, but it's just not very feasible for if you actually want to zoom in and out, and you know, not place yourself in the particular location. Shooting at Lightscape, it was very difficult, because I had to just move to a particular location, and sometimes it wasn't very convenient. But I can see why a prime lens would work out really well, in that, you know, you get the 1.8 instead of the 2.8 aperture, and that allows you to get that extra bokeh effect, but it also it also limits you to what you can and cannot do from the standpoint of, you know, being able to zoom in and out. And in certain cases, like if you're just taking wedding photography, you'd probably not want to move around so much. But yeah, that would also be an issue with this, because the autofocus isn't really that great, it seems. But I'll switch you to the to the kit lens that I had with this one, the 18-55, and this has an STM motor in it, and it's image stabilized as well, so it's pretty good quality for how cheap the lens is. Okay, so we are now on the 18-55mm a kit lens, and now we're just going to do a few autofocus tests. So focused, 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 focused. Okay, so obviously the Canon ZV-1 and honestly any new camera that's out today, the SL2 is 5 years old or so, and it seems that the autofocus game has really gotten a lot better. And just looking at this here, I mean, it's not slow by any means, but I think the Canon lenses still do, like, just like every forum says, still autofocus is quicker. So I think if I zoom out here, this will be better at autofocusing, as you can see here. Yeah, that seems to work a lot better. Focused, focused. Yeah, so this is pretty quick when it's zoomed out, so maybe what I'll try is putting this back on and zooming all the way out and seeing if the focus is a little bit better. Man, that lens is so heavy. Okay, so we're zoomed all the way out at 24mm, and then we'll see now. Still doesn't look super sharp. Alright, I can see it on my hands, so that's pretty quick there. Let's see if we can get... focused. Focus. Alright, try this. Focused. 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 Okay. What I'm going to try to do now is actually take it out of face detect mode because I'm seeing it's having an easier time focusing on faces, but when I put this lens up, it has quite a bit of trouble focusing on that. So what I'm going to try to do is change the focus to smooth, and then change it to 1 point live, because those are the 3 settings that I have for this SL2. Okay, so the autofocus point is basically here, and I also changed it to 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second. So, alright, so anything within this box that I mentioned right here the camera should focus on. So for example, if I'm in this frame here, and then I put something here, it'll focus on it. So let's try that again here. Focused, focused, focused. So yeah, that seems to work a lot quicker. If you're stationary, this probably makes a lot more sense, but yeah, that seems to work a little bit better to change the amount of time that it focuses. So, focused, 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 focused. Okay, so just from reviewing some of these stills here, you can see, as we're on my cat here, some of the stills are very noisy. You can see a lot of grain in the pictures, and especially in tough lighting conditions, you can see the grain just everywhere. There's a decent amount of bokeh, and it looks pretty decent, but I would say in tough lighting conditions, especially low light, images are not really great with this. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you in the next video.